Alright, so we have our users object pretty much created. We can add users from the back end. What we want to do is we want to be able to log in with users that are admins. Okay, so I just want to look at the database real quick. Okay, if we go to phpMyAdmin and log in. Okay, and we want to go to users, and you can see that we have two users here with hashed passwords, and they're both in the group with the ID of 2, which is admin. If we go and look at the groups, you can see that admin has the ID of 2. So these guys should be able to log in. But what we need to do first is create a controller in the admin folder called authenticate.php. Well, need to make sure you extend it. Alright. So we're going to start with the login method. Actually, we're only going to have two methods in this class, login and logout. Login, I want to load the login layout when someone goes to that URL. So let's first just load the view. So we're just going to say this load view. And the view is going to be in the admin folder. So in this section we're going to talk layouts / login. So if we go to admin / login, okay, we actually it needs to be authenticate login because we need the controller name. But we can create routes to make this URL shorter if we want. Alright, so we didn't create the actual function yet. So let's say public function, it's been a long day, login. Alright, so that's working. We just need to create our login layout. So let's go back, let's go to the views folder and then admin layouts, and then we want to create a new file called login.php. So let's go to the HTML template we created and open login HTML, and I'm going to just copy all that and then come and paste that in login.php. And we need to change these links to the style sheet. We need to use base URL and then the assets folder and then /css/bootstrap. Okay, I want to copy this, put that here as well, and let's make sure we have the sign in CSS file. Assets, CSS, which we don't, so let's bring that over. Okay. Now instead of using this HTML form, I want to use the form helper that CodeIgniter comes with. So I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm just going to paste in section by section. So here we have a variable called attributes, which has an array of attributes that I want to add to the form. In this case, I want to add a class attribute with the value of form sign in, and then we're going to open the form with form open, and it's going to go to our authenticate controller login function, and we're just going to pass in the attributes to it. Alright, and then to close a form, we can say echo form close. Alright, and then in between I want to have a heading. Okay, so an H2 with the name of the CMS. We want a placeholder for validations, so we're using the validation errors function. We want a placeholder for our errors, for instance the failed login error. Let me just fix this. And then we have the access denied error and the logged out message. Okay, logged out should actually be alert success. And these are just bootstrap classes to make it look pretty. Alright, so next we need our fields. Okay, so now I want to paste this in. So we have two fields. We have a username. Alright, so we can get the input with form input data. We're passing in this array with different attributes: name, username, class, and placeholder. And then we have our password, which we can echo out with form password with our attributes. And then finally we have our button, form button, with the button has a class. The content is just the text of the button, placeholder, and then the type, which is going to be submit. Okay, so that's our login page, and that should now be connected, which it is not. Okay, it should be loading it. Let me just try something here. Huh. And it looks like we have a syntax error. We have base UTL. This should be URL. Okay, still have something wrong. Oh, this one too. There we go. So there's our login. So now we need to handle it with the login method in the authenticate controller. So let's first do our form validation. Okay, so I'll do that right here. So basically we're setting rules for username and password, which are the only two fields we have. And then we're going to check and see if the form was submitted and passed. Alright, so if it wasn't submitted, we're just going to load this view. And let's see, if it was submitted and passed, we want to first get the values. Okay, so we're going to get the username and password and put them in these variables. Now we're going to use a model function to authenticate. Okay, so we're going to create a variable called user ID and set it equal to authenticate model login user, which will get passed in a username and password. Okay, so if the login is correct, if it works, then we'll have a value for this. Okay, so then we're going to say if user ID, so if it went through, then we're going to create a new array called user data, and it's going to have a user ID, which is going to be equal to whatever the user's ID is. Username will be equal to the username, and then we're going to have this logged in value of true. So this is what we can check. We can use to check to see if we're logged in. If this is true, then the user's logged in. And then here we're just going to set it. We're going to use the session helper and then use the set data function to actually set it. And then after that, we just want to be redirected. Okay, we're going to set a message that we're logged in, and we're going to redirect to the dashboard. Okay, so now we want to create this login user method in the authenticate model. So let's go into models, authenticate model, and the only function we're going to have is this login user, which takes a username and password. It's going to encrypt the password to MD5 because that's what it is in the database, and then we're just going to validate. We're going to find out where the username equals username and the password is the password the user enters. Alright, and then the results. If the results come back with one row, then we're going to return the row. If not, we're going to return false. Okay, and the user won't get logged in. So save that, and hopefully that does it. So let's make sure everything's saved, and let's reload. Unexpected end of file, controllers authenticate on line 31. What's this? Else. Looks like we're missing a curly brace. That should go with that. Yeah, we're just missing a curly brace. Put this right here, and that should fix it, I believe. Alright, so if we do nothing, we get these errors. Okay, username must be at least 4. So let's log in correctly. Let me just check out the usernames. So it looks like I have Brad. I think I know the password. Alright, so we logged in. Now what we want to do is we want to make it so that if we're not logged in and we try to come to the dashboard or any page really, that it boots us and sends us to the login screen. So let me log back out. Actually, I'm going to copy this URL, log out. Oh crap, we haven't created the log out function. So let's actually do that. Okay, so inside of the authenticate class controller, we're going to log out. And all this is going to do is use the session helper to unset all of our user data. So logged in will not be true anymore, and then at the end of this we're going to just destroy the entire session and then just redirect. Okay, so let's save that. Okay, reload, log out. Actually, let me see what that link, that logout link is actually going to. Admin users. See, it shouldn't be going to users, it should go to authenticate. So we need to change that in the layout. I think it's views, admin, layouts, includes, header. And then logout is right here. We're going to change this to authenticate. Logout. Okay, log out. And it's redirecting us to admin login. So that's wrong. If we go to right here, we want to redirect to admin. Actually, you know what? We do want to go to admin login, but we want to add that as a route so that this actually redirects us to authenticate login, because using admin authenticate login is just too long. So let's go to our config folder and then go to routes, and I'm just going to paste in some routes here. So when we type in admin, it will take us to admin dashboard. Admin login will go to admin authenticate login. Admin logout will go to admin authenticate logout. So let's save that. Okay, so now if we log out, it takes us to the login. But we don't want to be able to go to dashboard if we're not logged in. So in the next video, I'm going to implement access control so that it'll boot us out if we're not logged in.